If you've ever reread your notes 3 times and still forgotten everything on the test. If you've ever highlighted entire pages and remembered almost none of it. If you've ever spent hours studying English and wondered why so little of it stayed. Then this video is for you. Because the problem was never you. It was the method. Welcome back to Gentle Wisdom. The study methods most of us learned in school are scientifically ineffective. Not slightly ineffective. Deeply, fundamentally ineffective. Today I am going to show you what the research actually says about how humans learn and the specific methods that make English and anything else actually stick. By the end of this video, you will have a completely different approach to learning. One that takes less time and produces far better results. So slow down. Listen carefully. And let's begin. Lesson 1. Rereading is almost useless. Here is the first uncomfortable truth. Rereading your notes is one of the least effective study methods ever studied. When you reread something, it feels productive. The words are familiar. The material seems understood. You finish feeling like you learned something. But this feeling is an illusion. Familiarity is not memory. Recognizing something when you see it is not the same as being able to recall it when you need it. Peter Brown, in his book Makeitstick, describes decades of research on how people actually learn. The conclusion is clear. The study methods that feel productive, rereading, highlighting, copying notes, produce very little lasting learning. The methods that feel difficult and uncomfortable are the ones that actually work. Think about the difference between recognition and recall. If someone shows you a photo of a person, you can probably recognize whether you have met them before. But can you describe their face from memory without the photo? That is recall. And recall is what you need in the real world. When you reread English, you are practicing recognition. But in a real conversation, in a real email, in a real situation, you need recall. You need to produce the language without seeing it first. Rereading trains the wrong skill. Remember this. Put the notes away. Every time you study, make your brain work to produce the information without looking. Lesson 2. Testing yourself is the most powerful tool you have. Here is the method that research consistently shows is more effective than almost anything else. Testing yourself. Not waiting for a teacher to test you. Testing yourself. Actively. Every time you study. This is called retrieval practice. And it works for a simple reason. Every time your brain successfully retrieves a piece of information, that memory becomes stronger. The act of recalling is itself the learning. When you test yourself and fail, when you try to recall something and cannot, your brain pays closer attention to the correct answer when you check. It builds a stronger memory of it than if you had simply read it again. This means that struggling to remember something and failing is more valuable than passively reading it 10 times. There was a learner named Nami. She had a vocabulary list of 50 English words. For 2 weeks, she read through the list every night. She felt productive. She recognized every word when she saw it. Then her teacher tested her. She could recall only 12. She changed her method. Instead of reading the list, she covered the answers and tested herself on every word. The ones she missed, she tested again immediately. Then the next day, she tested herself again on the difficult ones. 2 weeks later, she recalled 44 out of 50. Same words, same time, completely different method. Here is what works. Close your notes. Test yourself first. Check what you missed. Then test again. Lesson 3. Spread your practice. Do not cram. Here is the third truth that changes everything. Cramming does not work. Studying 50 English words in one long session feels efficient. You see each word many times. You feel like you have learned them. But research consistently shows that this approach produces poor long-term retention. Most of what you cram disappears within a day or two. What works instead is spacing your practice over time. Study 10 words today. Review them tomorrow. Study 10 new words. Review the first 10 again in 3 days. And so on. This is called spaced practice. And the reason it works is simple. Each time you return to something after a gap, your memory has weakened slightly. Your brain has to work a little harder to retrieve it. And that extra effort strengthens the memory each time. The gap is not wasted time. The gap is where the learning happens. Think about the difference between watering a plant every day with a little water versus flooding it once a week. Plants grow better with consistent small doses. Your memory works the same way. Start here. Instead of long single sessions, study a small amount every day. Let the gap between sessions do its work. Lesson 4. The methods that feel hard are the methods that work. Here is the final truth that ties everything together. The study methods that produce the most learning feel the most difficult. Testing yourself feels harder than rereading. Spacing practice feels less efficient than cramming. Struggling to recall feels less productive than scanning familiar notes. But this difficulty is not a sign that the method is not working. It is a sign that it is working. Your brain builds stronger memories when it has to work harder. The struggle is the mechanism. The discomfort is the learning. This is why most people never use these methods. They feel wrong. They feel unproductive. They feel like failure. But they are the exact opposite. Think about 2 learners studying the same English vocabulary list for the same amount of time each week. The first rereads the list. She recognizes every word by the end of the week. She feels confident. The second tests herself, spaces her practice, and struggles to recall each word. She feels less certain by the end of the week. 1 month later, the second learner remembers 3 times as many words. The confidence of the first learner was an illusion. The struggle of the second was learning happening in real time. The most effective learning method is the one that feels the hardest. Tonight, put away your notes. Pick 10 English words you want to remember. Test yourself without looking. Check what you missed. Then sleep. Tomorrow, test yourself again on the ones that were difficult. That is it. That is the lesson schools never taught you. Train your mind. And keep becoming.